Hello, welcome to my week 5 discussion board presentation on remote workforce. My name is Octavio Ramirez Lopez. This is class MP 594 comprehensive exam seminar for Dr. Sean from California Baptist University. So for this presentation, we're assuming that Riverside County Department of Public Social Services, specifically the Adult Service Division, hire a new deputy director that is going to assist its workforce to transition into a remote workforce. And this deputy director was hired solely on its abilities and competencies as supported by the Pendleton Act to carry out its, organizational goals. So based on his abilities and not based on who they know or political affiliation. So this APA director is challenged with the task of addressing the health and safety concerns, employee motivation, and fostering strong communication between employees and their higher ups to effectively continue to provide quality services to our clients. So the first challenge that the deputy director is challenged to work with is and address is a health and safety concerns. So this deputy director must use his leadership and management abilities to effectively address this concern. So in order to do so, this deputy director is challenged to consider the employees, hierarchy of needs, specifically the safety needs. So COVID-19 brought a lot of ambiguity amongst employees. Employees don't not necessarily know if they're going to a client's home that it has been exposed to COVID-19. So that's one of the first challenges that the deputy director must address. And in order to do so, the deputy director has to kind of organize. They have to plan, organize staff in case employees are become ill. They need to staff other employees, or they need to hire different companies to help assist in providing the PPE, the necessary PPE to keep employees safe. They also need to direct employees on what to do since now we're working remotely. So that's for the push to work for employees to be remote workforce, and they need to direct different funds or work with IT to provide the appropriate devices and systems so that the employee can effectively work from home. It also has to coordinate different programs or different funding for different goals, and also report. They need to report whether an employee became exposed to COVID-19, and they need to also budget for if employees need to be out. Can we hire new employees? And also, will this employee be compensated while he's being made to quarantine, stay at home? And because this is fairly new to us, also the deputy director has to kind of just model through with the situation. We don't have this there's no direct solutions to COVID-19 as of yet. I know that they're working on vaccines, but as of now, as supported by Lindblom, the deputy director must kind of model through and work with different organizations or observe from different counties how they are addressing this concern or how they're responding to COVID-19, or even some kind of like tips on how they became they made the workforce become more of a remote working from home rather than being in the office, since now due to safety guidelines we have to follow public health guidelines and try to limit the amount of people in the office in order to reduce the exposure of COVID-19 to other employees. So another task that this new deputy director is taking on is motivating its employees to, effectively continue to provide these services through remotely. And whether the deputy director feels that its employees are not naturally motivated or naturally motivated, uh, the deputy director can provide some oversight, and not necessarily directly, but maybe through its supervisors and then eventually to the first line workers by providing that oversight, letting the employee feel that their work matters, that the manager is aware of what's going on, and having those supervisors check on their employees to kind of continually motivated them by providing that sort of concept of the Hawthorne effect, where employees feel that their work is being observed and that their work really matters. So also the deputy director needs to consider that these employees also have their own personal needs. So By doing so, they can try to overcome these needs or help these employees become their needs by being a servant leader. They can help these employees by transforming the environment through pop score. They can plan and organize and staff so that they can get all these services in place, this personal protective equipment in place, and also for these employees to be trained and educated on how to protect themselves and how to use this personal protective equipment. And once they transfer that environment through all this training and also motivation and encouragement, they can eventually promote that type of transactional relationship between the managers and employees, where the employees begins to develop the concept of utilitarianism, where they feel that they can now, once their needs are being met, they can feel the kind of like the drive to create the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of clients, and eventually also employees through this servant leadership also do not deceive employees, but be truthful with the employees, whether as harsh, no matter how harsh their truth is, still be truthful to the employees. So another task that the deputy director is challenged with is fostering strong communication with employees. So specifically what DPS says, social workers deal with a lot of wicked problems that we may not know, or no one may not know the cause of that problem, or the dynamics behind that problem, and or even solutions to that problem. So sometimes the employee feels stuck on how to address this situation with this client, so they need some guidance from their higher ups. So they need to have access to every communication channel as supported by Chester Bernard, whether it be informal or formal communication, so that the employee feels they're part of the organization and that they can reach out to anyone, whether it be their supervisor or regional manager or any higher up. So, as promoted by Henry Fayol and also Max Baver, employees need to have access and be knowledgeable of the the scalar chain. They need to know who they reach out to in case they need to reach out to their higher ups. They also need to be allowed to take initiative on communication or being able to reach out to manager to provide feedback, and eventually develop that spirit of corp where they feel they belong to the organization and they can carry out these goals. So that's where it goes to Henry Foyle in regards to its those principles in regards to initiative and building that spirit the core where the employee feels they belong to the organization by having access to these communication channels. And there's that reciprocal relationship as supported by Mary Parker Follett, where the managers are powered with the employees and not powered with employees by leaving these communication channels open to their subordinates. So in conclusion, the newly hired deputy director can effectively assist their workforce to become transition into a remote workforce by addressing the health and safety concerns brought by COVID-19, and they can motivate their employees by using POSCOR and also that servant leadership where the employees are assisting in overcoming their obstacles. They're being educated in how to deal with this virus and how to stay safe. And these communication channels between the employee and hiring manager are open so that employees feel that they're being powered with and not power over. So and this is what I have so far for my presentation. I want to thank you so much for taking the time, and I really hope everyone's having a great weekend.